Logging out the computer at the front desk of Johns Hopkins Hospital, Ophelia had just completed her shift. She had been working overtime. Hungry, tired, feet hurting, she just wanted to go home and take a nice hot shower. She quickly gathered her belongings, said her goodbyes to her co-workers, made her way to the elevator. Down to the ground level she went. Doing okay for herself in life, Ophelia drove a candy apple red BMW. She loved that car. It was a symbol of her success. She had came a long way, but the sky was the limit for Ophelia. But anyway, the neighborhood she lived in, middle class, mild crime area, off of Cold Spring Lane, not too far from Morgan College. Her and her newlywed husband, Sean, purchased the place together shortly after they married. He worked for CSX Railroad Company. He inspected and fixed train tracks, making good money. They had met at one of her friend's birthday party a few years ago and been together ever since. Finally tired not, Sean had swept her off her feet, taking her on a luxurious honeymoon to Aruba. Ophelia was finally happy in life. At 23 years old, she had one daughter who was staying with the father who stayed out in Baltimore County for the summer. Her daughter was 6 years old at the time. But anyway, tonight she had news that she wanted to break to Sean. They had been trying to have a baby because Sean didn't have any kids, and as his wife, that was the one thing she wanted to give him. And knowing her body, she had took a pregnancy test 2 days ago and found out she was pregnant. So tonight when she got in off of work, she was going to let Sean know that he was going to be a father. The whole ride home from work, she was just imagining the look on his face when he found out he finally got her pregnant. They had been trying for like a year with no success. She even miscarried once. So this was definitely good news. But anyway, pulling up in front of the house, Ophelia parked in her favorite spot. Her husband Sean's silver Mercedes-Benz was already in the driveway. This put a smile on Ophelia's face knowing that he was home. It was the summer of 1994, and it was hot and sticky out. Ophelia hated the fact she had to step out her car from that cool AC breeze that was blowing in there. When she got out the car, she locked the doors, bags in hand, went over to the mailbox, because she was waiting for a credit card to come in the mail. But when she opened it up, wasn't no mail in the box, so she figured Sean probably came out already and checked. So she walks up on the porch, sticks her key in the door, unlocks it, comes in the house, sits her bags down on the couch. She noticed a half-eaten plate of food on the table. Ophelia shake her head because she asked Sean to stop doing that. She kicks her shoes off at the door and starts making her way up the steps. What it is, it's your boy Dutch the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. Before I get out of here, I want to send a big shout out to the brother, Lester Anderson. This brother sent his hard-earned money in. Bless the channel through Cash App. This brother don't just watch the channel, he support the channel. Lester Anderson. Just stay locked in, pimps. I got us. Appreciate you. What it is, it's your boy Dutch the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. Before I get out of here, I want to send a big shout out to the brother Isaac Nash. This brother sent his hard-earned money in. Bless the channel through Cash App. This brother don't just watch the channel, he support the channel. Isaac Nash. Just stay locked in, pimp. I got us. Appreciate you. So, as Ophelia made her way up the steps, she started to hear voices coming from her bedroom. But the door was shut, and it was tripping her out because it sounded like a female voice. Then when she reached the top of the steps, she could hear like bed springs squeaking. So she walks over to the bedroom door, turns the knob, pushes it open, and she sees her brand new husband, Sean, bent over in front of another man with his face buried in the female's crotch. Ophelia couldn't believe her eyes. Her heart damn near stopped beating. She watching her husband get drilled from the back. Too much for her heart to bear. She pulled the door back too, unnoticed. While they continued on with their party, enraged with anger, Ophelia stormed down the hallway into the hall closet. She had to stand on her tippy toes to grab the lock box off the top shelf. Shaking with anger, she go in her pocket, take out her keys, get the fumbling looking for the key. Then when she find the right key, she sticks it in the lock box, open it up, and grabs Sean's pistol out of there. This was his registered gun that he kept when he had to work on them train tracks at night. But anyway, with tears in her eyes, she snatched the gun out the box and stormed back down the hallway. Her heart was in a million pieces. Full of rage, she opened the door and took aim. Sean, who was still getting drilled from the back by the big black dude, turned and dived on the bed when he saw Ophelia standing there with that pipe. The girl get to scream, "Ow!" Big dude, like, what's going on? What's going on? Sean, he on the bed, like, babe, it's not what you think. Let me explain. Ophelia, like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. She holding the gun, looking around on the bed. She sent KY jelly, all kind of sex toys. The girl had on some type of leather mask where you could only see her eyes and lips. Looking at Sean disgusted. Ophelia just started shooting. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Firing 17 shots all together. Shooting all 3 people. Deleting Sean and the girl instantly. The big dude was shot in his private area and in his throat. But he was still gasping for breath. Ophelia stood there, kept pulling the trigger. Click, click, click. Even after the gun was out of bullets. Then she snapped out of it. What it is, it's your boy Dutch the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. I want to send a big shout out to the brother, Brad Owens. This brother sent his hard-earned money in. Bless the channel through Cash App. This brother don't just watch the channel, he support the channel. Brad Owens. Just stay locked in, pimp. I guys appreciate you. Boom, so like I was saying, Ophelia was still standing there pulling the trigger. Click, 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 even after she ran out of bullets. Then she snapped out of it and dropped the gun right there on the bedroom floor. She stood there for a few seconds looking at the carnage she had just caused. 3 people laid out, riddled with bullets. Blood all over the place. Gun smoke could be smelled in the air. Breathing heavily, Ophelia backed out of the bedroom and walked down the hallway, shaking and trembling as she walked down the steps. When she got out front, the whole neighborhood was out there signifying. Motherfuckers had heard the gunshots. When she walked out the door, they all, "Oh, you okay? Are you okay?" Still in shock, Ophelia paid them no mind. She calmly walked through the crowd of people, got in her car and pulled away from the curb, heading straight to her baby father's house to see her daughter. The whole car ride, she was beating and punching on the steering wheel, crying hysterically. "How could you do this to me? You ruined everything. My life is over now." She stepped on the pedal and drove faster and faster. She flying through the city, taking all the red lights, not even caring if she get in an accident, run somebody over. It didn't matter. So as she's screaming at the top of her lungs inside the car, doing 95 miles an hour, coming down a city street, she crashes head on with a Baltimore City fire truck, totaling the BMW. The car's engine bay caught on fire upon contact. She wrecked out right in front of the bank on Moravia Road. Firefighters jump out the fire truck, pull Ophelia from the burning car, just in the nick of time before that motherfucker exploded. Boom! They had drug Ophelia's body to the sidewalk. She was injured pretty badly. She was covered in blood. She had glass fragments in her face from the windshield shattering. Her left leg was broken, and 3 of her ribs broken from the impact. The explosion shook the ground violently because when her car exploded, it caused the back half of the fire truck to explode as well. But anyway, Ophelia was barely conscious. She was seeing things in a blur. When the ambulance got there, she blacked out and woke up in the hospital. She had woke up during surgery. They had to give her more anesthesia to put her back under because she was panicking. When she finally came out of surgery, they took her to her hospital room, and it was already Baltimore detectives in there waiting on her. What it is, it's your boy Dutch the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. Before I get out of here, I want to send a big shout out to the brother, Kentwan Jones. This brother sent his hard-earned money in. Bless the channel through Cash App. This brother don't just watch the channel, he support the channel. Kentwan Jones, just stay locked in, pimp. I guys appreciate you. Boom, so like I was saying, when Ophelia finally got out of surgery, they took her to our hospital room, and it was already Baltimore City detectives in there waiting on her. They had her in a wheelchair because her leg broke from the car crash. The detectives let her know that they would be taking her down the station to be fingerprinted and processed. She asked for what? They told her she was being charged with a double homicide plus attempted homicide. When he said that, she was wondering who could have survived. But anyway, they told her they got the gun off the bedroom floor and they were going to try to match her fingerprints to the one on the pistol. She heavily medicated, stitches all in her face from the glass flying out the windshield, leg broke, ribs broke, and she had this real bad pain in her jaw to where it hurt to talk. But anyway, when they got down the station, she took her photograph, they fingerprinted her, processed her, gave her charge papers, and had to wait in the bullpen to see the 2 commissioners. Because in Baltimore, if somebody died in your case, you got to see 2 commissioners instead of 1. But anyway, she in the bullpen till 3:30 in the morning, and she finally sees 2 commissioners. They both deny her bail, send her over that Baltimore City jail. When she get over that jail and get situated, she hop on the phone, calls her baby father, Kenny. When she tell him what she being charged with, he lose his top on the phone. He trying to ask her what happened and all that, but she don't want to talk on that phone, knowing that her phone call being recorded and them people's listening. So she told him to come see her and to bring her daughter with him. So he like, all right, boom. They finish their conversation, hang up the phone. Now, Ophelia baby father Kenny, he's from over West Baltimore, straight hustler, get to the bag, real street nigga. From up Park Heights, he had just bought the house out the county, ducked off. His operation was running so smooth, he had his shit set up to where as though soon as he get his work, it's already sold. He had customers waiting on this to come in that would spend big bread. So he would snatch like 20 kilos of cane. And within a week, all that should be sold. He had the right connections. He kept a low profile, not too flashy. And his thing was, he ain't keep no girlfriend long enough for her to know his business. Kenny just didn't trust people, and that's what made him last so long in the game. He beat a body back in the day. Dudes tried to rob him. It didn't end well for the dude. Kenny ended up beating the body and earned his reputation right then and there in the streets. Ophelia was really the love of his life. His baby mother, you know what I mean? She left him because he wouldn't leave the street life alone. She got tired of going to see him over to jail all the time and all that. Ironically, look who got to go see who over to jail now. But anyway, so when Ophelia got with this new dude, Sean, that shit broke Kenny heart for real. He really wanted to do something to Slim, but realistically, he had to let her go. One of the hardest things he had to ever do, but he had to let her go. Now, Kenny had a best friend named Tank. Him and Tank was thick as thieves. And Tank was the gunman, even though Kenny played with that pistol too. Tank loved that shit. That's what he lived for. He was the muscle and the bill collector. Some niggas call him the boogeyman. He had a real scary reputation. Because a lot of times, if you see him, it's already too late. But anyway, it is. It's your boy Dutch, the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. Before I get out of here, I want to send a big shout out to the brother, James Cotton. This brother sent his hard-earned money in, bless the channel through Cash App. This brother don't just watch the channel, he support the channel. James Cotton, just stay locked in, pimp, I got us. All right, boom, like I was saying, some niggas call him the boogeyman. He had a real scary reputation. Because most of the time when you see him, it's already too late. But anyway, Ophelia's case was high profile and spread all across the news. She was facing the death penalty. The big gay dude who was the only surviving victim was the state star witness. In his statement, he painted a vivid picture of what happened that night. In detail, Ophelia had fired her public defender because they didn't have a fighting spirit, and on the first attorney visit, the public defender was trying to get her to cop out and take a plea of life in prison to avoid the death penalty. Ophelia felt like the attorney was trying to throw her to the wolves, so she fired him for ineffective counsel. When she told her baby father Kenny this, he was all over the situation. He went downtown to Billy Murphy's office, dropped off a bag, and within a couple of days, Billy Murphy was up there to see her. And Billy told her he was going to look through her case with a magnifying glass and promised Ophelia the best outcome possible. This calmed her nerves a little bit, knowing that she had somebody willing to fight on her case. Now, the first thing first, Billy told her he was going to get her back in front of the commissioners on a reconsideration for bail. Because the case was domestic, and this was her first offense, Ophelia had never been incarcerated before this. And Billy Murphy felt as though he could prove she wasn't a flight risk. This gave Ophelia hope, because she wanted nothing more than to be with her daughter, even if it was only until she go to court to start her trial. Because realistically, in Baltimore, you could be fighting a murder for years, sitting over that city jail, waiting to go to trial. That's the worst. Billy Murphy told her, he like, let me work my magic, pull a few strings, keep your shirt on. I'll be back up here next week, let you know what's going on. After I talk to the state, Ophelia nodded her head in agreement. She felt so lucky to have Kenny in her corner. But anyway, a month later, true to his word, Billy Murphy got Ophelia back in front of the commissioners on a reconsideration for bail hearing. And at this hearing, taking everything that Billy Murphy had presented to them into consideration, Ophelia was given $1 million bail to be paid in cash. When Ophelia heard how much, her heart sank. Where the hell was she going to get $1 million? When she got back to her holding cell, she jumped on the phone, First she called her mother. Her mother like, oh my God, where's we gonna come up with this money? Then she called her baby father Kenny. She tells him, he tell her, he already know. He talked to Billy Murphy, and for her to keep her shirt on, she should be out tomorrow. When he said that, she looked at the phone like, what? Where you get all this money from? But she ain't say nothing. She just said, okay. Hung up the phone. And just like he said, the very next morning, Ophelia bail was paid in full, and she was released on bail before lunchtime. What it is, it's your boy Dutch, the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. Before I get out of here, I want to send a big shout out to the brother Dallas Simmons. This brother sent his hard-earned money in, bless the channel through Cash App. This brother don't just watch the channel, he support the channel. Dallas Simmons, just stay locked in, pimp. I guys, appreciate you. Boom, picking up right where I left off. Now, when Ophelia was released on bail, she couldn't go back to her house because it was a crime scene. Her mother had a bunch of people staying with her, so Ophelia had no other choice but to go live with her baby father, Kenny. Now, because her case was so high profile, she had to wear an ankle monitor. Because even though she was out on bail, she was on house arrest. But anyway, arriving at Kenny's house, Ophelia was shocked and surprised to see how he was living. Ophelia had never been to Kenny's new place. But then again, she didn't know how much Kenny had elevated in the game since they was together. See, back when they was dating, going steady, Kenny would cop an ounce, cook it up, flip it type shit. So this is what she remembered. She had no idea that Kenny done elevated into the brick man now. Big floor model TVs in every room, big pool in the backyard. House had 7 bedrooms, huge deck out back. Ophelia was blown away by it. Couldn't believe her eyes. Kenny told her she could have any room she wanted. Her mother had been helping out watching her daughter, so her daughter was at her mother's house, and she could not wait to see her daughter. She chose one of the rooms on the bottom floor, got herself situated, took a shower. Her mother, Miss Ethel, and them was on their way over to the house to bring her daughter over and stuff. But anyway, now, the reason why Kenny had elevated in the game is because a few years back, he was walking through Mondawmin Mall when he was approached by this Cuban guy who talked to him as if he already knew him, basically telling Kenny that he knew Kenny was a hustler and he was looking for somebody that he could trust to move large quantities of cocaine for him. Suspicious at first, Kenny kind of like brushed dude off, but took his number anyway. Then a few days later, a situation took place. One of Kenny's spots got raided and took a big loss that was going to be really hard for him to bounce back from. So he decided to take a leap on faith and call the Cuban dude, which was a good thing because it changed his life. That one phone call changed his life because he instantly went from flipping onions to copping keys. I mean, he literally went from buying ounces from dudes to turn around and selling them same dudes bricks. But anyway, his Cuban plug was a dude named Javier who spent a lot of time in Cuba, Mexico, and the United States. He was well connected and he extended his connections to Kenny. But anyway, unbeknownst to Ophelia, Kenny had went on here and invited a bunch of Ophelia friends, colleagues from work, and family over to the house for a dinner party, like a little welcome home dinner. So while Ophelia was in the room getting herself together, Kenny was in the kitchen, whipping together a whole seafood boil. Crabs, shrimps, mussels, crawfish, oysters, with the sausage and everything. Had the house smelling good. You could smell the Old Bay seasoning in the air. He had Earth, Wind, and Fire playing in the background. Regardless of what was going on, they was going to make the best of the moment. Now, Kenny's best friend Tank showed up first, parking his Porsche 911 in the driveway. Yeah, Tank was way flashier than Kenny. Watches, big gold chains, that just was part of his personality. He wasn't doing no blending in. He was standing out. What it is, it's your boy Dutch the Damon, and you now watching Damon Time with Dutch. Before I get out of here, I want to send a big shout out to the brother Matthew Lewis. This brother sent his hard-earned money in, bless the channel through Cash App. This brother don't just watch the channel, he support the channel. Matthew Lewis, just stay locked in, pimp. I got us. So when Tank knocked on the door, Kenny wiped his hands off, leave out the kitchen, peeked through the blind, sees that it's Tank, let him on in. When he stepped in, he got the Adidas sweatsuit on, top tens, big gold chain on, Fendi glasses, 2 Rolexes, 1 on each arm. He give Kenny a 5, they go in the kitchen. Tank go to washing his hands and helping Kenny prepare the food. So while they in there prepping, Tank get to looking around, looking in the living room. He like, boy, I need to holler at you in a low voice. So Kenny like, what's up? So Tank get to telling him that they had a problem. You see, Kenny sold all the major weight, but Tank was put in charge of the street level dealers. They had 3 strips jamming on the hard and the soft with over 20 people working for them. Shit, it was estimated that they was bringing in over 80,000 a day between those 3 strips jamming. Their workers was outshining all the rest of the hitters in the city. I'm talking about the hitters riding around Infinity trucks, Lexuses, Acura. Stevie Wonder could see they was getting money. But anyway, Tank tells Kenny, niggas kidnapped one of his workers, made him take him to one of their stash houses, cleaned out the stash house, got a half a brick of cane and like 100,000 in cash. Kenny like, what? Tank like, yeah. And they cut little Mike's arm off. From the elbow down, his shit gone. They said he almost died from blood loss. Kenny like, yo, what? He like, yo, when this happened? Tank like, I just found out before I came over here. Kenny just leaned back on the wall in the kitchen, rubbing his head like, God damn. Kenny like, who the fuck you think did it? Tank was like, man, I don't know shit yet, but I'm gonna put my hook in the water, shake the bushes, see what I come back with. That's when Ophelia came out of her room into the kitchen. Kenny immediately changed the subject, put a smile on his face. Looking at Ophelia's outfit, he told her she was beautiful. Then the doorbell rung. All her loved ones started showing up one after another. And before they knew it, there was over 30 people in the house. Kenny and Tank brought all the seafood out, set it around the table for everybody to enjoy. Ophelia must have hugged her daughter for 10 minutes straight, hugging and kissing on her. Eventually, they all sat down at the table and ate like a family. The dinner was a success. Everybody respected Kenny's wishes and didn't bring up the case around Ophelia. Towards the end, Tank had asked Kenny about one of Ophelia's homegirls. Her name was Shabria. She was bad. Her and Tank kept making eye contact all night. Kenny told him to shoot his jumper. She was one of Ophelia's best friends. So the first opportunity Tank got when he seen her standing by herself, he slid down on her. Spit his game, got the number. Let her know he was gonna call at his early convenience. So when everybody left, Kenny and Ophelia cleaned the house, had to wash all them dishes and stuff, take the trash out and all that. Some heavy drinking was going on that night. In some type of way, Kenny and Ophelia ended up in the same bed. But anyway, the next morning she woke up bright and early to cook breakfast for her daughter and Kenny. While her food was cooking, she was sitting at the kitchen table drinking a cup of coffee, reading over her motion of discovery, basically studying her case. She thought it was crazy and unreal that in her motion of discovery, the state actually gave her the witness's address. At the time, she didn't know that it was her right to know that. You got the right to know who your accuser is. Today was the day her lawyer was going to come to the house and talk to her. And she was looking over her case so that she would have all her questions ready before he got there. So she would go through the papers and highlight things that she thought was inconsistencies.